Hello and welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's event. And it's a big one. The inaugural event of the All-American Racing League here on iRacing this Saturday evening. Not only are we starting a brand new season, but we are starting a brand new league. Drivers from all over coming together, many of whom have never seen one another, ready to take on tonight's season opener in Daytona. I am Arie Heinzman up here in the Cyber Thunder Broadcasting Network booth tonight, and alongside me, as almost always, my co-host Tom Richter. How's it going, Tom?
Good evening, Ari. It's going good, and it's always special anytime we can come to a season opener, a league opener, and to the World Center of Racing. Ari, you kind of alluded to it in your opening there, but all these drivers, anytime we're on track, we usually have history to talk about. We have past statistics to talk about. Tonight, we're looking at the scoring charts and a lot of drivers that are unfamiliar with each other.
That's right. There's a good mix in here of drivers who are unfamiliar with one another and pockets of drivers who joined, maybe as a little group, as a team. They might have a couple faces they recognize. So we're going to get a good little mix of both, drivers teaming up with people they know and teaming up with people they don't know, kind of learning what to expect out of everyone else here in the All-American Racing League for the season opener. But as we look ahead to the All-American Racing League first season, the inaugural season, if you will, we've got 24 events on the calendar starting at the High Banks of Daytona this evening. Next week, we've got Auto Club. We're going to keep the speed way up before we start to change things up just a little bit. We're going to have Phoenix followed by Dover. So quite a fun way to start the season, quite a variation of tracks. But as always with oval racing, with stock car racing, no better way to start a season than at the World Center of Racing.
Absolutely. As the field of 29 drivers currently sitting on pit road, they're currently going through a pre-race drivers meeting, getting accustomed to the league rules from the administration here. We are about 7 minutes away before we hit our qualifying attempts here for the first time in the first race of the All-American Racing League. Ari, you come here and, drivers unfamiliar with each other. No fast repairs in this league. 3 stages, lap number 15, lap number 40, and lap number 80. Got to imagine that the first 2 stages, we may see people kind of just getting used to one another, and then stage number 3 is where everybody's going to let it all hang.
I would imagine that would be the case, and I tell you what, I mean, the drivers aren't the only ones that are going to be getting used to everybody out there. I think you and I have quite the task ahead of us this season as well, and particularly tonight here in Daytona. There's a lot of drivers who we've never seen on track, a lot of new colors and numbers and cars to get familiar with. So we do ask all of you guys out at home watching that you bear with us for the first couple of races while we get everyone's names down, learn who's driving what numbers and what paint schemes they got out on track. But as always, in the chat, let us know who you're rooting on, who are you here to see, who are you hoping wins tonight's race. Maybe it's a driver, maybe it's a team, maybe it's a few drivers. You let us know who you're watching out there tonight as practice gets ready to wrap up here shortly. All the drivers parked it on pit road while they go through the first drivers meeting of the season. Probably a lot to cover there, so not too much action out on track at the moment, but it's the calm before the storm, if you will, Tom.
It absolutely is, and all these drivers, the next 5 to 7 minutes when they go into qualifying, that's when they're going to be the most nervous. And then once the green flag drops, it's kind of almost just like any other race that these drivers are going to race. The first one of 24. Something that this league does do is that they do a win and in. So drivers know that we haven't even begun the first race, we haven't even rolled off on the pace laps. You got drivers already thinking about the playoffs.
Oh, you certainly do, especially at a track like Daytona. I think you always say it best. You just go out there and roll a 40-sided die and see who comes out on top to win this race, and in this instance, secure a spot in the playoffs later on in this season. So all is up for grabs, but I think there's a little bit extra there, Tom, being it's the inaugural race of this league. This is more than just a win at Daytona. This is more than just a win for the playoffs or a win on the season. You become the very first driver to ever win a race in this league by winning tonight.
And those kind of events are remembered forever for the history of the league. Whether the league, is around for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, everybody always remembers the first winner. And one of these 29 drivers who have made their way out to the beaches of Daytona will be called the first winner out here this evening. As the field's still sitting down here, quiet track so far. We're going to go ahead and step aside for just a moment, get the pre-race ceremonies underway while we have a quiet track, and we'll be back for your full 5-minute qualifying.
All right, we're back just on the brink of qualifying. We're not quite ready yet, but a couple drivers deciding to go out there and do some mock qualifying runs. Even though it's a super speedway, you go out here, and if you're a lone car especially, you're just going to be full throttle all the way around the track. It doesn't seem like there's too much to it, Tom, but there's a lot of difference that could be made in steering input and little things like what line you're running, how close to the yellow line you get if you drift up off the corners, if you're going to cut the apron on the front stretch. There's a million different things you can try and manage and kind of capitalize on for these qualifying runs that make doing a mock qualifying run, even at a track like this, worthwhile.
Absolutely. As you see a couple of smaller groups of cars making their final laps of practice before we do go into the important qualifying runs. Checking into our YouTube chat box, see a whole lot of new faces out there tonight. Who you guys all rooting for? Got some picks out there for Chris Lawrence. Got some picks out there for Nick Pavlik. Got some picks out there for Cody Gibson and Tanner Marr as well. Go ahead, drop some names out there. Let us know who you want to see do well out here this evening, and we will do our best to follow their stories along all night long.
Love to see all the support, especially for the inaugural event of the season. It's always a whole lot better when in the broadcast you got people out there actively rooting on friends and family and the like. It kind of adds to the to the intensity of these races, to the importance of getting good results, and I think it's just all around really good for a league when you see that kind of support come out week in and week out.
It absolutely is, Ari, and you love to see, like, my mom watches me sim race, and it's like the highlight of her week. And I know that your grandparents enjoy watching you race, so anytime you can get the friends and family involved, it makes it that much more special, because it's now a shared interest that you can go back and kind of talk about together. No racing during the off season until we get to the Daytona 500 in a couple of months, but we will be here every single Saturday night from the All-American Racing League live on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network, as it looks like the checkered flag flies over practice, and we are about to begin our first qualifying session.
That we are, as we wait for these drivers to jump back out on track. We got some support for Drive Trainer Motorsports, the 17, the 30, the 76. We'll see what all of these drivers can do, all of these drivers and more. We'll see who the first one to pop out on the track is going to be. It looks like we've got driver 16, Joshua Kanata, who is going to be the first driver we follow around here for qualifying, running that you can't miss shade of green right there, that Trevor Project Toyota Camry, making out there to make a statement, I would say.
Absolutely, one of the first drivers to make his way out on track, the driver out of Liverpool, New York. Kind of slow rolling here on the apron, Arie. Maybe a little bit slower than what we would anticipate to see. We've seen this kind of in other leagues and in other cars. Some drivers elect to slow roll on their first lap in hopes of maybe keeping some fuel in there and trying to keep the weight down.
I think a little bit of it, Tom, is putting as little scrub on the tires as you can to keep every last possible ounce of grip that you can and kind of keep the tires cooled down. I think you and I both know a certain name that comes to mind for doing this tactic and it working every single time. And I've never been able to fully replicate it myself, but I do know that it translates across cars, and I think that's what we're seeing right here. This first lap is completely a throwaway, as you don't get up to speed until much later, and you're just going to kind of build that momentum on the high side. And then on that second lap, that's where it all happens. It's a mix of how you got up to speed right there, how your tires are looking. It's a mix of, you know, how much wheel input you have through the corners, how smooth are you, and how do you manage the momentum on corner entry and corner exit. Not to mention, we do got the apron you can cut down through the tri-oval coming to the line as well, and I'm sure we'll see that here at Daytona.
Other drivers out on track, probably about 15 to 20 of them at the current moment, following Matthew Pavlik in that Chevy Camaro out here around, and kind of looking like the same thing here for the 30, as we see some times tick across the timing tower for the first time tonight. Drivers completing their first lap, with Alex Fuller currently up top, Shane Johnson, Gabriel Ngoli currently the top three as they run.
Matthew Pavlik going to cross the line right there. That's going to be P7 on lap number 1. But lap number 2 is the one that counts and the one we'll be waiting for, as top of the board right now is driver 45, Alex Fuller, as we jump over to the 97 of Chad Wilson in the Mobil 1 Ford Mustang. Got a nice little Cyber Thunder Broadcasting Network logo on there. That'll always score you a little bit more airtime around these parts. Makes his way through turns 3 and 4. Currently P4 on the board, looking to complete lap number 2. And see where he can put that 97 coming towards the line.
And Chad's gonna flirt with that apron, and he's gonna go down onto the apron. Totally legal in qualifying. However, if iRacing detects that you hit the left side tires there on the grass, it will disqualify your second lap. So is able to hold on to the 8th position as more times come across the board, following Jackson West in the 76 Toyota Camry. Supra in the Xfinity Series. We're gonna have to get used to that. We're used to calling Camrys.
Yeah, we certainly are. That's gonna take a little bit. We're used to Camrys and Tundras, but that's gonna be P12 on the board for Jackson West, driver the 76 on his second go around. Top of the board right now, it's the 16. It's Joshua Kanata as we jump over to Nick Thompson in the 88. Coming towards the line right here for Nick. This is gonna be completion of lap number 2. To the line, put him P24 on the board with that one. Nolan Milnes jumps up to P2 in the meanwhile.
Looks like the last driver currently out on an active track right now is the 54 of Chris Lawrence. Has not yet taken the green flag, but he does only have about 40 seconds here in qualifying, Arie. So I got to imagine that I don't even really know if he's going to be able to get his first lap in here, as there's about 30 seconds left now in the qualifying session. So looks like going to be probably about 5 cars that are not going to elect the time. So it looks like provisionally our pole sitter is going to be Joshua Kanata up in the 16 with Nolan Milnes on the front row.
It would seem to be the case. It would take it would take an actual miracle for the 54 to get around in time, as we've got about 7 seconds left before the session closes, and then a couple more seconds before it kicks them out of the car. Only 5 minutes for all of these drivers to get their qualifying times in. Not a lot of time. You got to make it count. And just like that, we are already in a position where we're going to be calling this grid right here.
I tell you what, Ari, it is a Saturday night. What do you say? We go racing for the first time from the All-American Racing League. The field of 29 drivers get set to roll out here tonight with Joshua Kanata and Nolan Milnes on the front row, followed by Zachary Tyler, Joseph Klein, Nick Crawford rounds out the top 5, Kyle Wellman in number 42 rolls off in 6th with Trevor Harmon in 7th, Ryan Rose and Zachary Wake in 8th and 9th, and then finally rounding out the top 10 is Stoney Benefield.
Outside of the top 10, we've got Thomas J. Parker starting 11th ahead of Samuel Garcia. Alex Fuller starts P13 ahead of Chad Wilson in P14. We've got Caleb West in P15, Jackson West in P16, Dakota Moniz P17 ahead of Matthew Pavlik in P18. Cody Gibson is going to start us off in 19th ahead of Matt Semple in P20.
And rounding out the field of 29 cars out here tonight, Shane Johnson's going to roll off from 21st place, followed by Gabriel Goli. Had strong pace in that 55 car for Goli out here tonight. Keep an eye on him. Chris Carroll's going to roll off 23rd, followed by Nick Thompson and Brian Troy. Rounds out the top 25, followed by a couple of drivers did not elect to take a qualifying timeout here. Tanner Marr, Brad Holmes, Larry Bell, and Christopher Lawrence.
29 drivers, one race to start it all, I suppose, here in the All-American Racing League. Looking forward to getting the green flag going on this one as the sun is getting ready to set here in Daytona Beach. We'll see a little bit of changing conditions. Not that, it makes the biggest difference on a track like this versus maybe a shorter track or more of an intermediate, but I tell you what, it sure does make the atmosphere of the place a lot better and add some really nice views.
The first stage is going to be just 15 laps, and then second stage going to be lap number 40 before we see the checkered flag on lap number 80. So a 15 lap run to the first batch of stage points of the season. And, drivers are trying to kind of feel each other out, but also go for those ever so important stage points as the field of 29 begins to roll off a pit road behind the iRacing.com pace car.
All right, 2 by 2 we roll. One pace lap to get everyone shuffled together, or put together. Guess you don't really want to be shuffled up too much right there, but see all these drivers, all their paint schemes, all making their first appearance here. They've had 1 hour of practice to familiarize themselves with everyone else on track. A couple preseason races in which they might have been able to do some close quarters action, close quarters battle with some of these drivers out there. Again, as we mentioned before, there are some teams here, a couple groups of drivers who join together who might be familiar with one another, but the groups themselves from all over the iRacing sphere, the sim racing world, all coming together.
One driver here, Ari, before we go green flag racing, Brad Holmes did not roll off of pit road, so one driver still sitting down there trying to get that 86 Ford Mustang fired for Brad Holmes. See if he is able to roll that car off of here before too long.
We'll hope that Brad Holmes can get that figured out and get into the action here. Would hate for it to be over before it even starts. And speaking of it starting, we've got 80 laps tonight here in Daytona. The first stage is a short one. We're racing to lap 15 before our first intermission for a stage. It's going to be Joshua Kanata and Nolan Milnes on the front row, and they are going to take the inaugural green flag in the All-American Racing League. Pace car pulls off to the left-hand side, and into the start zone we go. We are racing in the All-American Racing League.
Barney the flagman's going to send them on their way for the first time, and we're going to see a flash of 29 drivers come through as they run side by side. Everybody getting up to the gears right now as they come through, trying to grab all 4 gears, but they are doing 100 pace lap as they enter into turns 1 and 2 for the first time.
You can see a couple of drivers towards the back of the pack already deciding to kind of take it a little easy. They're just going to start this race out in a bit of a survival mode, just kind of feel it out, see what everyone up ahead of them does. They're not in a rush to do anything on lap 1. Meanwhile, up front, it's a battle for track position. You want to be the car in control of the race, and you don't want to be the driver whose line has to kind of give weight to the other line. So we're going to see both the bottom and the high side pretty formidable to start out this race at the very least. As to the line, it's going to be Joshua Kanata leads the first lap.
2.5 miles of racing to go, or down, and a whole bunch to go. Is now the outside lane gets a little bit of a push from Joseph Klein in the number 5 up on the outside lane. The outside lane looks a little bit tighter right now. They've got probably about 5 cars really working the top side very well as we go on board here with Kyle Wellman halfway down the backstretch. These drivers also have to manage the engine temperatures, Ari, as this race goes along. If you can probably get about a lap and a half to 2 laps of solid pushing before they start to overheat.
Yeah, and overheating is something that we saw happen to a couple of drivers in practice. Even though we only had 1 hour, there's a lot of drafting practice, and those high temperatures definitely bit a couple of guys. So something to manage, something to be careful of, and if you're going to go all out pushing for a little bit, you really got to make it happen quickly, because if you don't, you'll be in a tough spot trying to manage those temperatures in the middle of the pack. All the while, Nolan Mills in the number 1 car has gotten in front of that bottom line. He leads this race, leads lap number 2. And now we see on the outside, number 5, that's Joseph Klein, leading that high side, trying to get on up there to the front of the field.
You can see the outside lane trying to make some sort of momentum. Kyle Wellman coming to the back bumper of the number 5 before you see a little bit of separation before you have the 78 of Ryan Rose up on the outside. The 29 Zachary Tyler rounds out our top 6 as they run right now, with Nick Crawford and Stoney Benefield not far behind.
To the line this time, it's going to be the number 1 yet again. He's getting a little squirrely from some of those pushes from behind, but all these drivers keep it going. I'd say that high line is formed pretty tightly, about 5 cars back, bit of a gap to the next one. All in all, most of the field remains 2 by 2 as we work lap number 4 of, oh, by the way, only 15 in stage number 1. We are already almost to 10 laps to go in this stage. It's kind of amazing how quickly it creeps up on you.
Quick little close of the loop on Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes did get rolled off of pit road as we pull up the track map here, and you can see the drivers are within 3 or 4 seconds. They're going to be lapping the 86 here in the next lap or so. So we are going to see some 3 wide situations, some get skinny situations as they approach their first lap car of the evening.
We'll be hoping that everyone can make their way through that. All good and well, as it looks like that high side has got something figured out. They've got Joseph Klein up there getting about even with the race leader into the corner, but they're going to need a good run down the backstretch to maintain that as that bottom line's kind of come back a little bit. You see that 29 car, that bright blue and yellow 29 driven by Zachary Tyler, doing some good work on that bottom line. It seems like that 78 of Ryan Rose on the high side, that 3rd car back, just can't really get up to the back of the 42 as well, and that might be slowing down that high side.
Yeah, behind the 78, there's really not a whole lot of help. There's a lot of daylight behind the 78 before you find, is that the 74? No,
75.
75, okay, yeah, of Stoney Benefield. So a lot of separation up on the top shelf of the speedway. And Ari, I mean, if I'm Stoney Benefield right now, I wouldn't necessarily be right up on the back bumper of the car in front of me. We know that the first stage is only 15 laps. They want to get the stage points, but they also want to get the finish out here tonight. So maybe just giving a little bit of room here as we approach Brad Holmes down on the inside line.
Absolutely, and Brad Holmes is going to do everything he can within his rights to try and stay in the draft here. He wants to make sure, and there's going to be an issue. Big issue further back.
Gabriel Goli involved, Zachary Wake, Chris Carroll, Cody Gibson, Jackson West, Trevor Harmon, a whole bunch of drivers involved in the first caution of the evening. This is not what a lot of drivers wanted to see. They saw the lap car coming up, and we'll take a better look and find out exactly what happened, but not how these drivers wanted to begin their evening.
Absolutely not. I was just talking about how Brad Holmes was going to stay on track to try and get back into the draft, and it looks like that may have been where everything went wrong. We'll wait for the replay as Joseph Klein in the number 5 leads this race, catches up to the back end of the pace car. Get a replay going right here and see if we can't figure out what went wrong.
All right, so following Brad Holmes here in the 86, you see the lead lap vehicles working their way around him. Let's take a look. Does he kind of slide up? You got the 29 right up above him, Stony Benefield, 74, and well, we're gonna have to take another look at that here, Ari. I don't know if
Yeah.
the 86 slid up there just a tiny bit. Let's take one more look at what just happened here for Brad Holmes.
Wonder if we can't get. There's got to be a good shot here. Maybe from on board. Here we go. We got to slow down for you guys. We could take all the time in the world to see this. He's down on the yellow line, and man, I mean, he comes up, but it feels negligible. Like, he does come up, certainly, but that feels like a normal amount to kind of come up a little bit. That almost feels like a coming together, if anything. The 29 was kind of following the rear bumper of the driver in front.
I tell you, one driver that I do want to see their point of view here from is Matt Semple in that number 8. Let's go on board with Matt Semple as we ride live time with the number 8 here. A little bit of contact here, a little bit of contact there, but for the most part, Ari, I would say that's a job well done for the 8.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Through.
I think there's another driver I would like to get a replay of here as well. Let's see if we can't queue up this one more time. Man, you got to go all the way back there to find the incident right here. Let's see if we can't jump on board the 97 of Chad Wilson here. As we're heading into this incident, we'll watch this in real time. Up against the wall, nowhere to go. And that is just the definition of wrong place, wrong time right there. You can kind of see the aftermath. This is, you get these incidents and they just kind of domino effect. They're still wrecking up ahead. Drivers trying to get through. They're getting caught up in everything. There's sliding cars going everywhere.
A couple of cars currently sitting on pit road. Zachary Tyler on pit road. Trevor Harmon on pit road getting some damage done. I got to imagine some of this damage will be terminal. Dakota Moniz on pit road. Matthew Pavlik has some people ruin him on out here tonight in that number 30 on pit road. His car looks pretty okay from that incident. Chad Wilson is sitting down here with terminal damage, so I do expect the 97 to be retiring from tonight's event.
Certainly seems to be the case. Lights are still on the pace car, expecting those to go out this go around. Reminder that we still have the rest of stage 1 to complete right here. We're going to have a little less than halfway in stage 1 to go. It's going to be quite a short little shootout towards the end of this first stage. And a little note for all of you watching out home in regards to stages and cautions. How it's going to work here in the All-American Racing League is that the stage will always end on the designated lap. Even if there's a caution in the leading or in the couple of laps leading up to the stage will always end on the lap it's supposed to, regardless of cautions, pit stops, or anything of the sort. So with that in mind, even if we get another caution, whether it's under green, under yellow, on pit road, anything like that, if it's the end of lap 15, we're giving out the points.
All right, Ari, so now you're one of these drivers. You take a look at Chris Lawrence up 19 spots. You take a look at Chris Carroll up 12 spots. Gabriel Ngoli up 13 spots. Brian Troy 12. You just made your way through that most recent incident. How you feeling about these next, what are we going to have, 7 laps or so to go on the stage?
I'm feeling like
gotta put you on notice a little bit more.
It does have to put you on notice a little bit more. In the same breath, I think it's a good opportunity to maybe go get some stage points, because I think there's something you said about an incident that big happening that early. A lot of drivers are maybe going to start to take it a little easier, and I think that tends to lead towards, a calming effect in a big way for a lot of the race. Drivers are like, oh my God, it's a little too early for that. Maybe we should calm down, and usually that's a good opportunity if you're feeling a little opportunistic about it to maybe go up there and get some track position when the overall field is maybe a little less aggressive.
That's if they're brave enough. I mean, if I was behind the wheel and I just saw that, I will see you after lap 40. But we're about to find out who's going to take home the first stage victory of the season as the iRacing.com pace car gets ready to make that hard left-hand turn down onto pit road. Row number 1 being led by Joseph Klein and Nolan Milnes. Up into the restart zone they go. Here we go, green flag racing, attempt number 2 out here this evening.
Great restart from the bottom line. That's Kyle Wellman in the 42 on the inside, trying to get up to P2, but that outside line's got a little bit more help at the moment. We'll see how it all shakes out down into turn 1. Joseph Klein in the 5 leads us away as we get up through the gears.
As they exit the south end of the speedway, they're going to see the long backstretch down here, and they know that we just have 6 laps to go in the stage on board with Nick Crawford in that Toyota Supra. As they race down here, everybody's still getting up to full speed. Got Joshua Kanata right in front of him, and Nolan Milnes leading this outside lane.
All these drivers are fully up to speed by the time they get off of turn 4, and we are pack racing once again. Looks like there's no rest for the wicked, as that high side is just as formed as it was before. There's no single file riding yet. These drivers are bound to determine to go get some stage points here in stage number 1 as we work 5 laps to go in this first stage. Down into turns 1 and 2. Joseph Klein on the inside leading that line. Nolan Milnes leading the outside line. As a couple of drivers a little further back, 5-6 cars back, start shuffling, changing up what line they're in, trying to find where the right spot is to be heading towards the front.
Got the entire top 10 under a blanket and more as you're side by side for about 6 rows before you finally see Chris Lawrence as one of the single drivers following this pack. But the field currently being led by Joseph Klein and Kyle Wellman noses that 42 out up front on the inside line. Now the outside lane's got a good push with Nolan Milnes getting that push.
I tell you what, Tom, based on what I'm seeing so far, I feel like we're going to see a pretty stagnant situation here for both lines, you know. I don't know that one's going to get too much of an advantage at this point because it feels like, for the most part, drivers that are, you know, the 3rd, 4th, 5th car back, they're not too interested in pushing too hard. They're just kind of riding for now. And what that tells me is that these lines aren't, you know, you're not really going to see an aggressive battling where one of the lines kind of really gets an advantage over the others. They can't really make too much momentum when it's only the first 2 cars in each lane who are really pushing.
Kyle Wellman takes the opportunity to jump in front of Nolan Milnes up on the outside lane. Put the 42 as the lead car as they come across the stripe, and we're going to see 3 laps to go in stage number 1. And we got a couple of smaller packs starting to form back. 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Got Samuel Garcia, Matthew Pavlik. They're out of the lead draft right here, but the entire top 20 is about within a second and a half of each other. So any one of these 20 drivers could get up here. I mean, we've seen drivers go from 15th to 1st on one lap. Could it happen out here tonight on lap 15, 40, or even 80? That's the question we have to answer.
Off of turn number 4, we're going to see the popsicle sticks in the air for stage number 1. 2 to go at the line. Can Kyle Wellman pull that outside line? We're going to go 3 wide across the line. Joshua Kanata in the 16 is going to go for a bold move now, and he's going to have help from the 74 of Nick Crawford. That's 3 by 3 on the high side. Meanwhile, Joseph Klein leads this race from the bottom in that bright blue, white, red, white, and blue number 5. Down the backstretch we go, on board here with Nick Crawford in the 74, trying to push that 16 out front, but we're pretty dead even.
Dead even down into turn number 3 as they're going to see the white flag on the stage. This is really kind of the first time we've seen anybody use that top shelf of the speedway. Will we see them carry the momentum here? I do like the position that the 16 is in here, unless is that the 42 in front. It is Kyle Wellman. Maybe slides up in front of the 16. Does not do that. 3 wide to the stripe. 2.5 miles to go in the stage.
That high side looks real good, but they need a 3rd car back there if they want to have the advantage. I think it's going to take a 3rd car. We'll see what that 17 does. Right now, playing that middle line, he's going to give that momentum to the 1 and then the 42. You're going to see this run come all the way down the backstretch, but that 16 is also going to start to form a run. As we get in the corner,
Sideways
the 1
pushes.
gets turned.
The 1 Nolan Milnes goes around. We stay green flag racing for the time. Now the outside lane of Joshua Kanata getting help from Nick Crawford. We stay green. We know we're going to see a caution here in about 15 seconds for the stage. Joseph Klein out front with Ryan Rose in second.
Oh, the 16 gets forced into the wall by the 42. The 42 gets the draft on the 5 and to the line. It's gonna be the 42 of Kyle Wellman who beats out Joseph Klein at the line. But you can't help but think that the 16 is going to be very unhappy with the 42 for that move off of turn number 4. I'll try to get some replays ready for those incidents on the final lap of stage number 1. I tell you what, Tom, that looked like the final lap of the race.
It certainly did, as you saw some pushes go wrong. But let's take a look at the first one here. Nolan Mills, let's back up just a smidge on Nolan. And a little bit of a left quarter contact there with the 55 of Gabriel Goli. And he's going to go around. Looks like he's going to avoid any sort of serious damage other than a bruised set of tires here for the number 1. And then let's see if we can't find Joshua as well on his corner exit.
I think it's going to be, I think we got it right here as we take a look. This is the final lap. A couple of drivers merging back up right there. We're looking for the exit of turn number 4 right here. We're running all good and well. 3 wide behind the race leader here through turns 3 and 4. The 16's got some help on the outside, of course, from the 74. Now, the 2 drivers in question we're looking at is the 42 and the 16. As we start to exit turn number 4 right here. The 78 comes up the track a little bit off of that bottom line, but that seems all good and well so far. Is there contact between the 78 and the 42? It's hard to say.
I would say so, yeah.
The 42 comes up into the 16, into the wall. A little bit of a domino effect right there.
Yeah, difficult situation to be in, but this little group of 5 drivers here did a great job not to put any more damage on their vehicles as stage 1 done and away out here from the Me Shirts 200.
Well, that's right. Stage number 1 is over. Kyle Wellman leads this race, and it's a great time to take a look at our sponsor for the evening. That is, of course, Me Shirts sponsoring the first event here in the All-American Racing League. So shout out to Me Shirts. Head to meshirts.co for unique t-shirts and apparel that let you tell the world your story. You can use coupon AARL to get 10% off your first order. Me Shirts, just doing me.
The majority of the field's going to make their way onto pit road behind the leadership of Kyle Wellman as these drivers going to come down. And gotta imagine we're gonna see 4 tires up and down pit road. Looks like the 74 is gonna overshoot his box. That's gonna cost some positions here as drivers begin to make their way out. Ryan Rose, the first one to hit the lad pedal, followed by Thomas Parker on the exit of pit road.
Tell you what, Tom, we're seeing a lot of 2-tire stops, some fuel-only stops as well, a lot of track position games. Kyle Wellman came in the race leader, took 4 tires. He's gonna drop all the way down to P6. There's only a handful of drivers taking 4 tires. The rest of them still on pit road are presumably getting some damage fixed as well. As we look at our new race leader for the first time tonight, Ryan Rose, driver of the 78.
Started 8th on the board for Ryan Rose. Hadn't set his name up there a whole lot. Was kind of running in the lead pack up there for stage number 1, and car looks clean on that 78 on that Chevy Camaro that he currently drives. Thomas Parker running right behind him in that number 17. Started 11th for Thomas Parker. Biggest mover of the night so far is Chris Carroll in the number 51 Chevy, as he is up 19 spots from his qualifying position.
That he is making some good headway in tonight's event. It helps when you get such a big wreck in stage number 1 like we did. The end of stage 2 is going to be at the conclusion of lap number 40. So we're going to have a bit longer of a stage 2 right here, getting us to halfway through the race. And then we'll have the entire second half of the race uninterrupted by stages at the very least. From 40 to 80, as we can see the sun starting to get ready to set. We can see some shade starting to pour over different parts of the tracks from or the track singular from the grandstands, from the booth up top, and again, not going to have too much of an effect on the racing of a track like Daytona, but give us some nice sights as we get into the mid and late portions of tonight's event. Field's going to double them up. Lights are out on the pace car. Row number 1 is going to consist of Ryan Rose and Thomas Parker, the 78 and the 17, respectively. We've seen that bright blue number 5 up towards the front pretty much all evening so far. Joseph Klein going to be restarting second car on the inside. Can't help but feel like he's going to want to continue to kind of stay at the head of the pack, stay the tip of the spear as much as he can. Try to get some more stage points here. Is who knows how the points are going to shake out? Who knows who the contenders are going to be, where the battles are going to be in the points? Everyone kind of getting familiar with one another for the very first time, but it always helps to go out there and just score yourself as many points as possible so you don't have to worry about it.
As we continue down the backstretch here, going to see about 20 laps of green flag racing, or that's what's scheduled, in stage number 2. As the field enters into turn number 3, 29 cars started the race, with 28 still running. Got 26 cars on the lead lap, with Trevor Harmon being the last vehicle on the lead lap in that 0:29. As we get set to go racing once again from the World Center of Racing here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network.
Barney's ready to change that yellow to green. That pace car is about to pull off that hard left-hand turn. Fans are on their feet as Ryan Rose and Thomas Parker are going to lead us to green for stage number 2. And we are underway.
Up they come, and everybody comes across the stripe behind the leadership of Ryan Rose and Thomas Parker.
I think we have an issue further back.
Oh, yellow flag is out. Larry Bell involved. The 30 of Matthew Pavlik involved. Oh, okay.
Like an issue on the restart, collecting a number of drivers.
All right, we're probably gonna have to take multiple attempts here and
Looks
kind
like
of
it starts
figure out
further
where
up.
where this came out. Let's go on board here with Matthew. Looks like Larry Bell.
Yeah, started with Larry Bell, I think.
All right, so let's do this. Let's go to Tanner here.
Oh, Tanner gets hit from behind and then hits Larry Bell. We might need a... Let's see... Man, let's see if we can't...
Let's look at the green flag here, Arie. That may give us a better look at it here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we get a blimp shot? This might be a great indicator of what happened here. You see these a lot of times, these accordion effects, drivers speeding up and then slowing down, and when that goes back far enough, you end up with a really big issue here. So we're watching the 74 in the middle of your screen and the 4. A bit of a stack up right there. Larry Bell checks up, Tanner Marr checks up, the 74 does not check up. That gets the 4 into the 43, and then everyone behind is reacting, hitting one another, going every which way. And that is a a time-honored tradition when it comes to restarts on drafting tracks, I feel like. These happen so frequently. And you never want to
look on board with the 74 of Nick Crawford here, Arie. Sorry to interrupt, but on board with the 74. And, it kind of just happens behind him here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there in the 74's defense, that you can't really see much, right? We don't have actual spotters on the roof like maybe the Cup Series does in real life, telling them what's going on. So you only have so much time to react. And when there's an accordion effect, each driver in line has less time to react than the driver in front of them. And eventually, if that line is long enough, you're going to be the unfortunate driver, in this case the 74, who is at fault more or less for being the first driver to get into somebody else, but at the same time, he didn't really do much wrong. He couldn't see what was going on. He was just restarting his race.
All right, we're gonna try our best to set the scene for a couple of these cars. Cars involved in this most recent incident. The 29 is Zachary Taylor, Nick Crawford in the 74, Jackson West also on pit road as Tanner Marr. He's gonna roll out as they run. Matthew Pavlik sits down again on pit road. This is the second time we've taken a look at the 30. He does have some rear end damage, kind of right about where that spoiler is. A little difficult to see. Oh, that's a lot easier to see. A little bit of rear end damage. You can see the Chevrolet logo pushed in on the back. Shane Johnson in that number 2. He's going to have some right rear quarter panel damage on that number 2. And then finally, the last driver that I saw was the 50 of Samuel Garcia. All these drivers down here on pit road.
Some damage looking worse than others, but regardless, all of these drivers will be able to continue competing in tonight's event. None of that damage is terminal. And at the rate we're going, who knows if anyone is going to have a perfect car by the end of it. So you're never out of it till the checkered flag waves. Up front, we're getting ready to double up the field yet again. And it is Ryan Rose still in control of this race. Thomas Parker in second. Chris Carroll in third.
So, Arie, I got to kind of pose this question to you, right? Some of these issues that we're seeing, restart issues, maybe communication issues on the exits of the corners coming to the stage. Is this more Daytona racing, or is this people still getting to know each other here? We know Daytona is an animal of its own.
I think it can certainly be a little bit of both. Both is good. I think more than anything, this is just going to be a product of Daytona. But I do think there is an element of all of these drivers being taken from everywhere they come from and basically thrown into the mixing pot for the first time together here. The All-American Racing League is a brand new racing league. You know, it's not like we took an entire field of drivers from one league and moved them over. These drivers come from all over the place, some from other leagues, some from not even league racing and of all different skill ranges. So you're always going to have a little bit of that, a kind of growing pains as everyone gets familiar with one another, and you throw that in with the old drafting track usual sorts of issues, whether it's bumps, whether it's accordions on restarts, whether it's green flag pit stops. It's kind of got its quirks, and you get a recipe for things like that to happen. So it's a learning experience, and I think these drivers will all kind of take a note of that in the future.
Well, everybody is getting ready to go racing once again here, as we attempt once again to begin stage number 2 here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. 3 cautions so far, 2 for incident, 1 for the stage, as we get set to go racing around this 2.5 mile super speedway once again here, Arie.
That reflection off of the car is starting to get real bright. You can see the track glowing on a turn number 4 now with where the sun is positioned in the sky. Pace car is going to take that hard left-hand turn, and once again, Ryan Rose in control of the restart. Into the restart zone we go. Barney's going to throw that green flag, and we are going yet again.
Green, green, green. That's what the drivers see as they see 17 laps to go in stage number 2 before we hand out the second batch of stage points. Kyle Wellman picked up stage 1 win. Will he be able to pick up 2 for 2 out here tonight? He's going to have to get around Thomas Parker, Chris Carroll, and Ryan Rose if that is what he wants to do. Stoney Benefield currently runs in the solid 6th place. Adrian Goley, Alex Fuller, Matt Semple, Nick Thompson round out the top 10 as they run.
Down the backstretch we go. A little bit of slicing, a little bit of dicing, and we might be 3 wide with Nola Mills to the inside of Nick Thompson. Going to shuffle him out of line right there. Going to try and get back up to speed in that 88 Chevy Camaro. As we watch that high side start to dissipate just a little bit, is it going to give the inside a chance to make a little bit of a reshuffling? No, it's not. Ryan Rose leads across the line. That 17 on the outsides, bringing that train right up back to the leaders.
See some drivers that were involved in that incident a couple of minutes ago. Got Samuel Garcia still on pit road. Larry Bell. Larry Bell is back out on the track? No, Larry Bell is not back out on the track, and neither is Brad Holmes. So early night for some drivers as these drivers continue down the backstretch. As we got a 3 wide situation halfway down the backstretch into turn number 3.
These drivers certainly are not calming down, Tom, from all of the chaos that we've seen up to this point. We've paid out some of the stage points, and they're still not ready to calm down and make it a race of survival. And you got to respect it to a degree. They're all antsy. They're ready. They want to go make a name for themselves in the very first race here, and they're going to continue to go at it wheel-to-wheel racing as we are 2x2 pretty much all the way through the field. Riding on board now with driver 45, Alex Fuller out of Des Moines, Iowa. Trying to maybe make a run at 3 wide. Gonna pull back into line right here. Running the Scooby-Doo machine. Bright purple can't miss out on track. Running about 4th in line on the outside. Effectively P8.
Thought we might have saw him poke out and maybe try to take a look up on the outside lane to begin lane number 3, as we're going to have 14 laps to go on the stage. Could have just been a situation where he had a little bit more of a run and had to fall back in line in front of the number 1 of Milnes. But these drivers come through the south end of the speedway once again. Still 2x2 for the top 10 and 12 or 14.
Waiting to see if that inside line can clear 2 cars ahead of the outside line, and if we see Chris Carroll in the 51 elect to jump out and lead that outside line, it could very well be the case, though. I think that 78, the 51, and the 42 are going to be linked up pretty good. I want to say those 3 are teammates, at least the 51 and the 42, perhaps. Could have my information wrong or mistaken. At least drivers who are familiar with one another for sure. As on the outside line, that 17's made a charge. He's going to lead this lap is Thomas Parker, and there's issues further back.
Huge issues right behind him here. Got Gabriel Ngoli involved, Joshua Kanata involved, Dakota Moniz, I want to say, involved, maybe. Cody Gibson involved, the Cheetos machine. So we have a lot to take a look at here as we see our 4th caution of the evening. All right, we're gonna start here with Cody Gibson. We may need to dial this in here a little bit, but following the number 7 along, taking a look and seeing if he sees any smoke happening in front of him here. Yeah, a couple of cars. Looks like one car came up off of the bottom lane from back here.
The 55.
55. Yeah. All right. So now let's get lined up here with Gabriel, and we will take a closer look at this number 55 and see what might have happened.
Heading into the tri-oval, always a risky part of the track. Oftentimes where you see incidents happen. Look like the bottom line gets a bit of an accordion, and the 8 of Matt Semple gets into the right rear of the 55 on that checkup right there. Matt Semple not ready for those 4 to check up. He's going to clip the 55 into the 45. The 8's going to get pushed from the 54, who doesn't have time to slow down. Big, heavy damage for the 8 and the 54. We're going to collect the, I believe that's the 48 on the high side. The 39 also going to get involved right there. Meanwhile, the 16 down on the inside. Cody Gibson just gets clipped. Just so close to getting through.
So close for Cody Gibson. Let's take a look here with Matt Semple. And let's take a better look here from the number 8 riding on board. And you're going to see the 55. Is there contact to get him loose? No, it might have just been a stack up in front of him. Had to get out of the gas, and that transferred the weight of the car sideways in the most treacherous spot on the track. And the 55 going to have a little bit of contact there. Nowhere for Matt Semple to go or even to check up. And Matt's going to get some significant damage here in the 8.
That he is highly unfortunate. You could see how Matt just didn't have time to react. As soon as he had gotten into the 55, he was on the brakes, but it was a little too late. He was slowing down so much that he got plowed from behind. Just one of those unfortunate incidents heading through the tri-oval. Big stack up right there on the bottom.
All right, and on board here with Cody Gibson. One more run through it in real time. Thinks he sees a hole in an opening, but the 16 hits the inside wall, comes back to no fault of his own, and collects the number 7 And, I got to say, Cody Gibson looks pretty okay
Yeah.
after having pretty significant quarter panel contact there.
I think he got hit in just the right way where the contact was right where the tire is, and maybe that took the brunt of the blow. Fortunately, no suspension damage for the one, and I think Cody's going to get away with that one and something that could have been immensely worse.
On the other side of the story here for Chris Lawrence is sitting down here with what iRacing determines as required repairs to fix. So that number 54 will be down here for extended service, and it could possibly be an early end to Chris Lawrence's night. 2 drivers currently out of the race as they run. A couple of drivers out of the race as they currently run. Larry Bell, Brad Holmes, and Chad Wilson, and we may add a few drivers to that list at the end of this yellow.
Up front, it's Thomas Parker in the 17 who leads the field ahead of Ryan Rose and Joseph Klein. Running out the top 5, Stoney Benfield and Nolan Milnes. Those are the drivers at the front of the field right now. Nick Thompson, biggest mover at the moment, up 18 positions, running in P6 in that 88 Chevy Camaro.
Quiet night for Trevor Harmon. Currently runs in 7th, started 7th on the board out here tonight. A couple of drivers going the opposite way in terms of where they started versus where they're currently running. Joshua Kanata currently down 18 spots from his qualifying position. Zachary Tyler also down 18 spots. Chad Wilson, an early retiree from tonight's race, down 15. So some drivers coming, some drivers going. One driver coming down pit road here, Arie. So could this be? I mean, we're gonna have a restart with what, probably about 4 to go on a stage.
It's going to be another little shootout. Feels like that's been pretty much what has been the case so far this evening. Just a bunch of little shootouts, and the aggression has been at a maximum for sure, as we see Tanner Marr getting service on that number 4. Jumping back up to the leaders as we're doubled up out front. Thomas Parker, Ryan Rose going to be in control on this restart. We're going to see a number of drivers coming up to the back of the field right here as we make our way around on the final pace lap right here. A number of drivers will probably line up single file, just trying to get as much damage fixed as they can during these yellow flag laps. You'll see a couple of them coming through turns 2 right about now. A couple stragglers there usually is when there's a lot of drivers with damage.
Taking a look real quick, next week we will be here live Saturday night on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. We take a trip out west to Auto Club Speedway out in California for 100 laps of racing, followed by Phoenix, Dover, and Sonoma before we see our first road course of the season. Follow us every Saturday night here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. Click that like button, get notified every single time we go live, and come hang out with us on a Saturday night. I'll be here for most of them, and Arie will be here for all of them as we get set to go racing once again from the All-American Racing League.
Field in the hands of Thomas Parker in that black and green 17 on the inside. Pace car is going to pull off, and Barney the Flagman's going to throw that green flag one more time. Into the restart zone we go. Great restart for that inside line right there. And we are working 9 to go in stage number 2.
Yeah, Tom got a really good jump there on the inside line. Now he's got a lot of daylight in between him and Joseph Klein in second. Ryan Rose, no line right here, Arie, really kind of moving forward at the moment, but that's about to change.
Yeah, that 17 car got a little far out there. There's going to be a big run up to his bumper. He's going to have to take that push. That's going to accordion 3, 4, 5 cars back, as you can see. Great shot right here. And now that outside line's gotten formed pretty well, as looks like the field is ready to go 2 by 2 one more time.
Put the 78 of Ryan Rose up on the top shelf of the speedway. He's got help from the 1 of Nolan Milnes, and I want to say that is Stoney Benfield right behind him. Had a little bit of trouble seeing that number 75 there. But they are side by side down here as we see 8 laps remaining in stage number 2, working lap number 33 of 8.
Little 3 wide, a little bit further back as the 88's in trouble, goes around, and yellow flag, little further back. That's Nick Thompson in the 88, seeing issues right here. See if we can't get a replay on what happened through turns 1 and 2.
See a little bit of damage here up on the right front fender there of the 88. Kind of running up there on his own, and he's got Alex Fuller on the inside. It's going to be hard to say who came up, who came down there, or if they just kind of were going for the same real estate at the same exact time.
Yeah. Let's see if we can't see this maybe from a zoomed in view. I don't know. It kind of feels like Nick in the 88 was just kind of on that high side, getting out of everyone's way, maybe falling back a little bit. I didn't feel like he came down too much. I would love to get an onboard from the 45. We can find where he is here, and maybe get it from on board here. 3 wide is always going to be iffy. Looks like they just kind of come together at a bad time. That gets the 88 out of shape, and then it's just a single car incident from there.
It's kind of similar to what we saw in the first contact yellow with Brad Holmes in the field to kind of put an exclamation point on stage number 1. Nobody really did anything egregiously wrong, right? It's just they kind of found each other on the track.
Certainly the case. A lot of close incidents tonight that could have very well not been incidents. Just one of those sorts of nights as it's been heading. Up front, Thomas Parker continues to lead here in stage 2 ahead of Joseph Klein and Ryan Rose. Reminder that stage 2 is at the conclusion of lap number 40 at the line. It will be lap 34. So by the time we get restarted, going to be only a handful of laps to the end of stage number 2. And again, a reminder that as the rules work here in the All-American Racing League, the stage will end at the conclusion of the designated lap, regardless of if that is under green, if a yellow comes out 1 to 2 laps before, if drivers are pitting that lap under caution. It doesn't matter. If it's the end of the designated lap, it will pay the points at that time and no sooner.
Couple of cars coming down onto pit road. See Zachary Tyler, Zachary Wake, Stoney Benfield, Joshua Kanata. Drivers coming onto pit road, followed by Alex Fuller, involved in that most recent incident. Got to think here, Ari, with just a couple of laps to go in the stage, this is probably going to be a split of strategy where we may see some drivers stay out at the beginning of stage number 3 here in just a handful of laps.
Could be the case, especially with all of these cautions, all of these pacing laps as well, to kind of just manage some fuel. We do got a 40 lap run in stage 3 from the end of stage 2 to the end of the race. Lots of time to work with. Lots of potential strategies up in the air, and plenty of opportunities here for these drivers to kind of flip the stage and get themselves up towards the front of the pack so they don't have to deal with the nightmare that has been running in the middle of the pack up to this point in tonight's event. Under caution for the 5th time this evening in the Me-Shirts 200 season opener for the All-American Racing League inaugural season. Thomas Parker is our race leader at this point. Stage 1 winner was the 42 of Kyle Wellman. Currently runs in P6. Had a handful of retirements. Chad Wilson in the 97, Brad Holmes in the 86. And potentially a few others with what looks to be terminal damage. Larry Bell, Samuel Garcia, Chris Lawrence. Keep an eye on the lights on that pace car, see if we're doubling up this time. Whole bunch of stragglers on field, getting damage fixed, getting caught up to the field. A couple of drivers coming back down on pit road, maybe topping off some fuel. Tell you what, Tom, it's definitely a big benefit for all of these drivers with damaged race cars that we're getting so many cautions. It's perfect for them to have as much time as possible to go back down, get as much damage fixed as they can, maybe even get all the damage fixed, and have a shot to get back out there.
It does. It gives them the opportunity to come down and, you know, I mean, and instead of coming down under green flag conditions where you can't almost get anything fixed, you know, these drivers have the opportunity to do so. One driver still sitting on pit road with a, I'm showing a black flag for the number 48 of Caleb West. Currently, as they run, maybe a speeding on pit road as he's been down here for about a minute right now. And time is running out for the number 48 to get caught back up to the field. But yeah, I mean, if I'm one of these damaged cars, I love to see all these cautions as long as I'm not collecting more damage with them, right? But, you know, an opportunity for them to stay in the race and stay in contention.
Yeah, definitely, definitely don't be collecting more damage. That's the last thing you're going to need at this point. See a couple of drivers back towards the end of the pack trying to figure out where they need to be for the restart. Probably see a handful of stragglers make their way up right before that green flag flies. Drivers waiting to the last second, getting that damage fixed. Up front, we're going to bunch these drivers up 2 by 2 by 2 yet again. We're going to get ready to restart. Coming to lap 36 out of 40 for stage number 2. We've got points up for grabs yet again, and they'll be the last points we pay out before the end of tonight's event.
The shadows get a little bit longer from Daytona International Speedway. The pace car is going to make that hard left-hand turn down. Once again, the field being led by Thomas Parker and Joseph Klein on the front row. They enter into the restart zone. We see the green lights illuminate from the World Center of Racing, and another good start from the inside of the 17 of Parker.
Good restart from Ryan Rose on the inside as well, but he's going to be pulled back by the 5 of Joseph Klein. Going to be using that side draft quite a bit. Going to wait for that help on the outside line to form, but that bottom line's got quite a bit of help. That's forming up real quick as well.
About a 2 or maybe a 3 car length advantage for the inside line. Now, these drivers on the inside line, they've got 2 cars clear, or they did have 2 cars clear. The 78 of Rose was clear of the 5. It'll be interesting to see if they do get 2 cars clear again, if Ryan Rose jumps up in front of the 5 and tries to take the lead from the 17 of Parker, but not an option at the moment, as here comes Joseph Klein and Nolan Milnes up on the outside lane.
Tell you what, that outside line is going to need a little bit more help. Those 3 cars are holding on for dear life. They're doing a great job considering it's only 3 cars, but there is a monstrous gap right back there. Going to be helped by the fact that the inside line checks up. That's going to give Joseph Klein the opportunity to lead that inside line in the 5 car, as we see an aggressive push from the 42 to the 1.
The 42 of Wellman, here comes the push to the back of the number 1 of Nolan Milnes, as they are going to go side by side down into turn number 3. I like the looks of the push that the 42 is giving the 1 here, Arie. Very steady, hitting him center. Well, maybe don't do that. But every time you hit off center like that, though, Arie, it kind of resets your momentum, because the 42 has to get out of the gas just even, 10%, and that allows the inside line to pick up the momentum.
It's all about momentum, no matter what line you're in, no matter what car you are. The line that can hold the most consistent momentum is usually the line that prevails. You got to be a good pusher, and you've got to be good at taking pushes as well. Get enough of that combination linked up, and you've got a recipe for success. As we're working 2 to go in stage number 2, driver's going to be blinded through turn 4 by that setting sun, as we're on board with Thomas Parker and the 17 pushing our race leader to the line. It's going to be 1 lap to go in stage number 2.
Joseph Klein in the 5 is able to find his way to the inside lane. Now the outside lane being led by the number 1 of Nolan Milnes, with Kyle Wellman directly right behind him. Thomas Parker currently runs second on the inside lane here. I like the outside lane here, Arie. They have the opportunity to carry the momentum all the way down the backstretch. It's going to be about what the 5 does to block a run.
5 tries to block high. He's going to have to go low. That opens the door in the middle for Thomas Parker. Aggressive move to make it 3 wide. Meanwhile, Nolan Milnes on the inside going to take over in the 1 car.
The stage 1 winner, Kyle Wellman, up on the outside lane. Turn 3, turn 4. Everybody sees the green and white checkered flag out here to signify the end of stage number 2. Who is it going to be? It's going to be Nolan Milnes at the line.
Nolan Milnes, driver of the number 1, gonna get the job done in stage number 2. 10 big points for the win in that stage in what was a fantastic finish of the stage. Much better than the end of stage 1, I would say. The whole field kept it clean despite the 2-3 wide racing. That was great.
The field of about 26 drivers remaining, maybe 25 or 24, going to make their way around this track as stage 2 winner Nolan Milnes picks up 10 stage points. And I expect to see everybody down here on pit road. Now, Arie, we did have a couple of drivers pit just a couple of laps before the end of stage number 2. With the first one being Zachary Wake, Jackson West, and Shane Johnson. Possibility for one of those drivers to stay out and flip the stage and take the lead at the beginning of stage 3.
Hello.
Hey Nolan, how you doing? It's Tom and Arie up here in the booth. We just saw you pick up the second stage victory. You kind of been the one driver that's been running solidly up inside the top 5 and kind of avoiding all the incidents as the race goes along out here this evening. How's your night going?
Hey y'all, been really good. Well, I managed to not avoid one incident. I had a couple of close calls, but that one where I got spun, I think I was second in line up top. So I've had to work my way back, but it's been good. It's been just slow and methodical, just, try not to be too aggressive, just manage my lanes, manage my spaces, and yeah, it all worked out. Me and my buddy Joseph finished 1-2 there, so happy about it.
Well, you're looking good here. You're about to hit pit road, I would imagine. How's these next 40 laps look for you?
Just gonna try and stay out front. I think some guys that pit, maybe they're gonna be in front of us here. I'm not sure, or they're probably gonna have less of a fuel up than we will. So I'll be curious if there will be people in front of me here. Either way, just gonna keep doing the same thing. Try and get up front and stay up front.
All right. Well, best of luck to you here on stage 3. Don't go over 55 down here on pit road, and good luck to you the rest of the race.
All right, thanks.
All right, and Arie Heinzman is back with us.
Yes.
Here on the Cyber
technical difficulties on my end. Sorry to leave you with that awkward interview start right there. I thought I had everything figured out, but I did not. That's all right, though. Nolan Milnes, winner of stage number 2. Giving us some words here as all these drivers make their pit stops. And what could very well be the final yellow flag pit stops of the race. I mean, given how we've been racing up to this point, I'd be surprised, but with no more stages to go, you never know.
Nolan kind of alluded to it here in the interview. A couple of drivers did stay out. Looks like 3 drivers stayed out. That's going to be Zachary Wake, Shane Johnson, and Alex Fuller. That's going to pass the race lead of the Me Shirts 200 to those drivers out here this evening.
While we wait for everyone to wrap up their pit stops, get caught back up to the field, the end of stage 2, we'll give you another shout out, another reminder to head over to meshirts.com for unique t-shirts and apparel that let you tell the world your story. They've got a coupon code AARL. It gets you 10% off your first order. You'll love to see that tie into tonight's event as well. So shout out Me Shirts for sponsoring tonight's events. And hopefully we see quite the exciting last 40 laps here.
Well, I feel like we are certainly going to. Arie, now the 3 drivers up front, Wake, Johnson, Fuller, they're going to have about 7, maybe 8 laps less fuel than the drivers in front of them. Got to imagine that a fuel run here is probably somewhere in the realm of 17 to 20 laps here, with probably about 37, 38 laps to go. I think that puts the drivers that just came down into pit road the last time by on a 1 stop. With those 3 maybe hoping for another caution that falls within their window to make them stop.
I tell you what, Tom, being that we're up here in the booth, I'm so glad I don't have to worry about fuel strategy when it comes to a drafting track like this, because that is one of my least favorite things to do behind the wheel. And it feels like these days it's become, you know, half of the challenge here at these drafting tracks is managing the fuel just in case. You know, who are you going to pit with? How far can you go? Green flag pit stops. All of these things, the field getting spread out. You know, are you in a pack? Are you alone with a couple guys? There's so many factors to juggle, and I tell you what, we both got to do that this past Thursday, and I'm glad to be watching it instead of doing it myself.
Yes, we did. You know, I certainly enjoy a good fuel strategy mileage race. Won a few, lost most of them when it comes to fuel mileage, but we're gonna see who is able to stretch these tanks. But I also don't think that maybe we're done seeing that yellow flag out here tonight, Arie, and I don't imagine this will become a fuel mileage race, but hey, we're gonna find out together.
We certainly will, and I agree with you. I don't think we're done seeing that yellow flag wave just yet. We've seen these drivers at the utmost aggression, and I can't imagine that now that we're at the halfway point they settled down. I feel like if anything that would amp it up, but I don't know how much further up you can amp it.
Couple of new names up front as we begin to take a look at stage number 3 right up in our windshields. Stage number 3 going to be led by Zachary Wake and Shane Johnson. Up on the front row, 2 drivers we haven't talked about being in the lead out here tonight. Second row going to be made up of Alex Fuller and the first driver that just came down for fuel, Kyle Wellman, on the outside of row 2.
Barney's got that green flag ready to go for the 7th time this evening. Pace car is going to pull off to that inside line. Down pit road we go into the restart zone. Field in the hand of Zachary Wake, driver the 39 Ford Mustang, brings us up to speed.
And you hear the power of the Xfinity cars come through as we take a look down from the grandstands. Zachary Wake, Alex Fuller on the inside line, followed by Shane Johnson, Kyle Wellman. The first 2 on the outside line as they come up through the gears, 4 gears strong. The inside line's got a lot more cars lined up at the moment. A little bit of daylight between the one of Nolan Milnes and the driver behind him. It's 3 wide down the backstretch.
So Kyle Wellman went to lead the outside line. Might have been a little bit of a late move. We're 3 wide now as the 1 and the 2 make contact. They keep it going somehow, some way. Nolan Milnes going to make his way past the 2, who's going to slide back on that outside line. Going to wait for a spot to slide into line. Going to have to wait a little bit further. Kyle Wellman on the outside's got no help at the moment as the top 2 on the bottom clear the field.
Take another quick look here as these drivers come around, and there was contact between, was it the 1 of Nolan Milnes and the 2. Go on board here real quick with Nolan, and there you see almost another yellow flag out here this evening. A little bit of argy-bargy down here into turn number 3, but they make their way through and stay under green.
Looks like that outside line's getting a little bit formed up at this point. Zachary Wake still leads on the bottom, but Kyle Wellman trying to lead that charge on the outside line. They're going to react to the 45 just a little bit right there. They've got 4 cars nose to tail, but there's nobody else back there. That inside line, though, that's where you're going to find most of the field most of the time. We'll see if those 3 additional cars make their way up on that outside line, make it 7 cars strong. See what they can do.
Shadows continue to get a little bit longer here from Daytona. Zachary Wake still leading the line for the race lead. Alex Fuller on the inside. Following him close, got Kyle Wellman and Nolan Milnes now paired up on the outside line. Not too far behind, you got former race leader Thomas Parker in that number 17 green and black Chevy Camaro, trying to follow them through.
Off of turn number 4, we'll see if that outside line can use that full head of steam to get even with the race leaders. Another lap to the 39 of Zachary Wake. And it seems like best they can do is kind of get level with second place so far.
Taking a ride on board here with the 42 of Kyle Wellman. And You can see him trying to side draft that 45 of Fuller down as much as he possibly can. There may even be a little bit of contact there, but he's getting a push now from the number 1. As yeah, this outside lane just doesn't have the power, doesn't have the car power that the inside lane does right now. But the 42 is making it work as much as he possibly can with that side draft.
Gonna have a great run off of turn number 4, but they're 3 wide. That is going to kill the momentum just a little bit, as it looks like Nolan Milnes, Joseph Klein on the outside. Teammates working together all the way up against the wall. They're going to try and skip those other 3 cars and make their way up on their own. We'll see how that charge goes for those drivers. We're 3 by 3 as a little more help's coming further back. We'll see if they choose the middle or the high line to go with. As looks like drivers of those middle line in that middle line are trying to figure out what's going on.
Here comes the top line, Ari. The top line's got the momentum right now. Nolan Milnes getting a huge push from Joseph Klein in that number 5. Got the Caleb West machine in that 48. Not too far behind. The middle's kind of in a spot where they don't have a whole lot of help. The bottom's got help, the top's got help, and the middle's got help somewhat coming, but not fast enough.
Absolutely, that middle line is holding on for dear life just by the power of the side drafting alone. I feel like the high side's in a pretty good position right here as they go through 3 and 4 and down the backstretch. That inside line's starting to break up a little bit, and that middle line's always going to side draft the inside line way more aggressively. So if you're on the outside line, you have that benefit. Usually you're not being side drafted as much. Down the backstretch we go. Huge run for the 5 and the 1. We've only got 2 cars linked up on the inside and on the middle at the moment.
Third car comes into camera frame. I believe that's Jackson West in the 76. He's going to line up 3rd on the middle lane in front of Matthew Pavlik. Involved in an earlier incident out here for the 30. Still running strong up inside the top 10 as we see 30 laps to go this time by.
Lot of squirrely race cars right now. Looks like these things are just on the edge of control, maybe a little bit loose on corner entry. You can see all of the drivers wiggling as we've got a driver down on the apron right there. That looks to be the 42 of Kyle Wellman. Has to tuck back into line.
Yeah, I want to say he got shuffled out of line there here, Ari, because you know, sometimes drivers will fall down to the apron to allow other drivers to go around if they see something that they don't like, right? But he's currently running in 9th, so he does not go to the back of the field, and I believe that was probably a situation that he just had a little bit of a bump that he did not like there.
All the while, the 39 of Zachary Wake, kind of quietly at this point, continues to lead this race from the inside line with the help of Alex Fuller. Those two have stayed glued together, and it's been working out for him. But now we got Matthew Pavlik in the 30, going to take a peek to the outside with the help of the 17 of Thomas Parker. Can those two make their way out front to lead this race? They're going to have a huge run with the help of the 1 and the 48 behind.
The 30 trying to take control of the race and does lead that lap at the stripe. Lap number 53 led by Matthew Pavlik. And Zachary Wake still hanging strong down there here, Ari, but I got to start to wonder about the fuel on that number 39. Did not pit on the most recent caution.
Yeah, some of the drivers who flipped the stage are going to have to come down earlier than the rest, not to mention that the 39 is leading that line, which means he's using more fuel than anyone else behind him. A little bit of a double whammy right there. We've also got the lap car of, I believe, the 16, Joshua Kanata, coming up right here. We're going to be 3 wide for just a hairy moment. Looks like everyone's going to make their way through. Caught him at a pretty decent time on that straight portion of the front straightaway. Through the trioval we go, ready to get back at it. Matthew Pavlik leading that outside line in the 30. And with that 30 leading that outside line, Tom, it looks a whole lot more formidable than it did just 5 laps ago.
It certainly does. We're on board here with the second car in line on the outside line, and that is Thomas Parker in that Chevy Camaro. As he's going to line up square behind the 30 of Pavlik. halfway down the backstretch, and you could hear the RPMs increasing all the way down the backstretch here. Going to give him a little bit of breathing room on the entry to turn number 3. Don't see the same sort of level of side drafting that we did when the 42 was leading the front of the line here, but it's working for the outside lane right here, as the 30 may lead another lap.
Whatever they're doing, it is working pretty good, Tom, to your point, as we see a little bit of a checkup on the outside line. That's going to give the advantage to the inside, and near contact between the 30 and the 17. They get that all sorted. This could give Alex Fuller in the 45 clearance. He is going to get it. Does he jump out in front of the outside line or stay glued to the 39? He's going to stay glued, and that outside line makes a charge yet again.
Tell you what, Arie, quiet night so far for Jackson West. Currently running 5th, started 16th on the board out here tonight. I don't believe there's a scratch on that 76, running 3rd on the inside line, that little Supra down there. Quiet night for Jackson West, and sometimes when you come out here to a super speedway, a quiet night is a great night, and we will see if he's able to improve his running position in these next 25 laps to go in tonight's Me Shirts 200 from Daytona.
At the line, advantage driver number 30. That time by down into turn 1. The inside line's got it figured out. Big breakup in the outside line. That's going to be Thomas Parker trying to get back up to Matthew Pavlik in the 30. Those 2 green cars, those 2 teammates on the outside line, they got to get reformed, but now they've got 3 cars on the inside line clear of that outside line. Maybe 4 if it continues at this rate.
A whole lot of opportunities now for somebody to jump up in front of the 30, kind of take control of the race away, as Jackson West looks like he's going to jump up, and yes, he is. Put the 76 to the lead on the outside line, but they got a ways to go before they're talking about the lead of the race. With the 76 now leading the outside line, as we see just 24 laps to go. But
tell you what, Tom, that 76 teammates with the 17 and the 30. So 3 teammates getting linked up right here on the outside line. I don't know if that outside line's momentum was broken up so that they could do this, per se, but it does give them this opportunity to get the 3 of them linked up.
Zachary Wade continues to lead Alex Fuller. Both of those drivers, we do believe, will be a little bit shorter on fuel than the remainder of the field. Both of those drivers last pit on lap number 34, as opposed to most of the field who pit most recently pit on lap number 42, but put the 76 up to contention for the race lead right now as they come down here into the south end of the speedway. Once again, underneath the golden hour of Daytona International Speedway. Big pushes up on the outside lane, the 30 sending the 76 forward.
Oh, there's a big push that almost sends the 76 into the 39. They keep it going somehow. 3 wide, that's going to turn back into 2 wide as we get resorted, but that inside line's going to benefit hugely.
And you can see just how much that little incident back there broke up the advantage and the momentum of the outside lane. It's 3 cars now before the 76 would be even with the race leader. Now Joseph Klein has the option to jump up. Alex Fuller has the option to jump up. Or does Zachary Wake see the outside line and say, hey, I just saw you guys do that a lap ago. I'm going to be the one to jump up, and you guys can take the inside line.
We see a couple of those drivers on the inside, maybe peeking a nose out there, trying to feel it out, unsure if they want to be the car to jump out there. It looks like the 30 car is having a hard time pushing the 76. It feels like a lot of the bumps that the 76 is getting from the 30 are unsettling that Toyota Supra, and that's kind of causing these checkups and close calls right here. They do finally have a good bout of momentum going. They're even with second place. They're going to get even with first place into turn number 1. Lots of overspeed, and that's going to even out through the corner right here. Advantage inside line. It's just a game of momentum swings right here.
I think the 30 wants to run a little bit more aggressive side draft than the big moment there. I think the 30 wants to run a little bit more aggressive side draft than the 76 does here, Arie. And I think that's the disconnect in terms of where these drivers are running here on the track and causing some of the issues for the outside line.
Yeah, it certainly could be the case. We even see a little bit of damage, a little crinkled up left front fender for the 30 car right there. Oh, we've got pit stops under green right here. Lots of cars making their way down all of a sudden. Couple locked up tires, but looks like everyone keeps it going. I'm not seeing any speeding penalties coming up at the moment. So all these drivers getting on nice and good. We've got, let's see, everyone on pit road right now. Zachary Tyler, Nolan Milnes, Joseph Klein, Ryan Rose, Zachary Wake, Alex Fuller, Caleb West. Those are all of the drivers who just came down. Can't help but feel like, Tom, we're going to see another group this time by.
The inside line starts the single file out for the first top 4, top 5, maybe top 6 here. And those drivers pitted with 20 or 21 laps to go. So got to imagine that these drivers either, probably both, at the end of their current window and at the top end of their second window to go in the rest of the race here.
Looks like the main pack's going to elect to stay out this time by the field in the hands of the 3 teammates. The 76 to 30 to 17 of Drivetrainer Motorsports, excuse me. Jackson West leads this race as the field evens out on the bottom line. Probably not going to be in a rush to go 2x2 now that all of these drivers are looking to make their way onto pit road. They're just counting down the laps until they do make that final pit stop. So they don't want to be caught out on the outside. Wouldn't be surprised to see everyone remain single file until they come down.
Let's let these guys get past pit road here, but I do want to take a quick look at the drivers that just came down. So a couple of drivers that just came down, they're broken up a little bit. You got a little pack of 3 here. Joseph Klein, Zachary Wake, Ryan Rose. You got a little bit of daylight before you see Zachary Tyler in the 29. Nolan Milnes, he's kind of leading the second pack of 3 or 4 cars here. So this first pack that came down, not running as efficiently as they possibly could right now. That could be an advantage to this lead pack here whenever they do decide to make their green flag pits.
It very well could be. I kind of like what this pack is doing right now. The guys who stayed out on track, they're all in one big single file line. The closer they run like that, the more speed they'll be making. And they can pit later and still come out with the advantage based on this part of the run. How are these 2 packs versus one another? What are the lap times looking like? And I like this bigger pack right here. Everyone's single file. You got over 10 cars in this line. I feel like that would be a no-brainer to make it more speed.
It certainly would, Arie, but the opposite effect sometimes is that the more cars you have in a pack here, as we see a little bit of separation after 4, the bigger the opportunity there is for checkups, right? If you're running 7th or 8th or 9th, you see those moments where you have to get out of the gas a little bit more than, say, in a pack of 3 or 4, like those drivers that just came down pit road.
It's a great point. You see 1 car out of line in this lead pack. Coming around this time, 17 laps to go. We'll see if these drivers elect to take their pit stop now or if they're going to continue to stay out. We've got a couple of drivers. We're going to split this main pack one more time. Kyle Wellman gets in too hot, slides across the rest of them. Going to spin that 42 all the way out, get it corrected, and get it going once again. A couple of black flags right here. We got a black flag for Stony Benfield. We got a black flag for Kyle Wellman, a black flag for Tanner Marr. On pit entry. Dishing out penalties left and right. We also had Chris Carroll, Gabriel Ngoli, Cody Gibson come down that time. And now this main pack, Tom, is incredibly split up. These guys will definitely be going slower than the others at this point.
At this point here, Arie, even if you weren't planning on it, you got to hit pit road. Your pack is broken up. Come down pit road and kind of regroup as these drivers are going to come down on pit road, being led by Jackson West, Matthew Pavlik. Up on the outside, sideways for the 76 on pit road. Same thing we saw for the 42.
More penalties as Matthew Pavlik clipped the grass. That's going to be a black flag on entry. Thomas Parker gets a black flag in the 17 for speeding. Jackson West gets a black flag for speeding. Unfortunate. All 3 teammates black flagged on pit entry.
So this is the essentially the race leader right now. This is the first group that just came down, I don't know, 5 laps ago or so. They are exiting turn number 4, as we'll take a look here, and you can kind of see, you can see the difference between Joseph Klein and Nick Crawford here, the 74 of Crawford, the 5 of Klein, and you take a look at the momentum that they're going to have here. I do believe the 5 and company are going to take over the race lead here.
It does seem to be the case. They've got a whole head full of steam right here. Many, many cars deep. There's a big accordion on the backstretch. We'll see if that slows them down at all. But these 3 cars up here, they're getting up to speed. They got the 8 car ahead to pull a draft off of. They might be able to get quick enough, Tom, surprisingly.
They may. It looks like they're actually going to get out of the gas and allow the 8 to lead this train here. Kind of surprising, as the second pack is, you know, just over a second behind. Nick Crawford is actually the only lead lap car vehicle in that entire little group up there. So kind of running up on his own right now. Second place being held by Joseph Klein, third by Zachary Wake.
Looks like they're going to get caught now down the back straightaway by that bigger pack. It took them just a little bit, but there's our race leader in the 74, second place in the 5. They're now charging on the outside, bringing the 39, the 78, the 29, the 45, the 1 with them along the way, and they have got a head full of steam on the outside line.
And here comes Joseph Klein. Nick Crawford on the inside. You see the 74 there. He is the race leader. Matt Semple in front of him. Not on the lead lap. A couple of laps down for Matt Semple. But the 5 trying to carry the momentum through. And he's got help from the behind of Zachary Wake.
From the behind, that's a new one there, Tom. So we got Zachary Wake pushing the 5. Gotta give you a hard time. Gotta give you a hard time for that one. A reminder that the 8 car, the 50 car, and the 16 car are all lapped cars. The 8, the 50, the 16 are not currently battling for position. They are 1 lap down in this pack. A couple of lap cars that are, you know, throwing a little bit of a wrench into the gears.
And it can be frustrating, Ari, as the race leaders to have lap vehicles up there, right? But these drivers are still trying to stay, you know, within striking distance of possibly remaining on the lead lap, as we currently have, I want to say 20 cars on the lead lap out here. 18 cars on lead lap, but here comes the 5 of Joseph Klein. We got a new race leader, and that's the 5, as he's made his way around the 74. Not clear of the 8 just yet, but the 5 back up to the point.
Joseph Klein making that charge, leading the pack. Some of the early stoppers on that green flag pit sequence at the line will be working 11 laps to go.
The 74 of Nick Crawford, nowhere to go as he's running behind Matt Semple in that Chevy Camaro, that Bass Tracker, that Bass Pro Shops Chevy Camaro. We'll try that one another time. But difficult situation for the 74 to be in here, Ari. You can't pass below the yellow line, and if you take it 3 wide, you may not have any help. So what do you do if you're the 74 here to try to protect the lead, as we're going to see 10 laps to go next time?
It's really tricky, Tom. It's really tricky. I think if you're the 74, the only thing you can hope for right now is to have that inside line get a good enough run that you can jump up in front of the 5. And I think you absolutely have to take that if it's presented to you. We'll see how it plays out. Having that lap car leading that inside line, it's a really interesting dynamic. And if you're the 5, you're feeling phenomenal about how this is. As a matter of fact, Tom, if I were the driver of the 5 right now, I would be making sure, as he goes down to the inside, interesting. I would have been making sure that the 2 lines stay even. If I were the 5 leading in that outside line, I would have drugged the brake a little bit. I want that lap car to the inside of me, because that means the lines are even and you don't have, you know, that inside car is not for position. That's perfect. But now he puts himself in the position where he's leading the inside line, and now on the outside line, he's got people battling for position. So interesting choice here from Joseph Klein. Across the line this time. It's 9 laps to go for the 5 car. On the outside, though, that 39, Zachary Wake, got himself track position with a fantastic strategy call. flipping stage 2. It worked out, and now he's in position with under 10 laps to go to try and make a run at the win. Can't count out Ryan Rose and that 78 second car on the outside line.
Other cars running up inside the top 5. Alex Fuller and that number 45 running strong out here tonight. Nick Crawford, Nolan Milnes. We spoke to Nolan at the end of stage number 2. See if he is able to improve that running position for the number 1 car. Arie, if you're running in this pack out here, you see some lead lap cars, you see some lap down cars. Which one of these 10 drivers or so are going to be the first one to jump up to lane 3? Because you know it's coming.
It absolutely is coming, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's the one of Nolan Milnes. We've seen a lot of aggression out of that one car up to this point, especially when he's found himself, the 4th or 5th car in line. We know that number 1's not afraid to do it, but he doesn't have the help of the 5 car like he did earlier in the race, so he'd have to hope that he could get some help from somewhere else. I would be keeping my eyes on that number 1, as right now, the inside line's got quite the run going into turn 3.
They certainly do, and now this gives the opportunity. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it gives the opportunity for Matt Semple in that number 8 Chevy Camaro to jump up to the outside line, but you see that spot filled by Nick Crawford. I like that move by Nick Crawford. You're not going to win the race running behind a lap car. Now Nick Crawford has an opportunity to move that outside lane forward. How does the 5 react?
Great move from the 74 to put him in position to try and win this race from the outside line. 7 laps to go as the lead pack works off of turn 2. They're coming up on a pack of 3 lap down cars, or cars that are about to go lap down. The 29 up on the outside. Zachary Tyler now looking for the race lead. That 5 car with the help of the 8 car, they're clear, but now we've got the 3 and tail end of the lead lap cars. That's the 4, the 75, the 17. They are about to go 1 lap down. Little bit of a push right there. That's going to make this even dicier, as we got to go 3 wide past this pack. They might merge seamlessly right up at the front, but that's 3 more lap down cars, Tom, in the way. And now if you're Joseph Klein in the 5, you have nothing but lap cars buffering between you and second place.
New driver running up inside the top 5, Dakota Moniz. Haven't said his name a whole lot, if any, out here tonight. Currently finds himself in contention in that number 05 Toyota Supra out here as the laps begin to tick down out here. We're going to see high 5 over the speedway next time by, but the field is led by Joseph Klein as they catch another lap vehicle of Cody Gibson.
Lot of lap traffic to navigate, and this pack is about as diced up as you can get. Cody Gibson down into the grass has got to try and save that 7. Phenomenal save from the Hot Cheetos 7 of Cody Gibson as we head down into turn 1 under green flag conditions still. Joseph Klein in the 5 leads with 5 laps to go. The next 2 cars are a lap down, the 8 and the 4. Second place is the 39. 4th car on the bottom, white and red. That is P2 at the moment. The 5 cars got 2 lap cars worth of a buffer, and that outside line is going to try and get going at the 39, the 29, and the 1. They got to go catch that race leader.
Hold the phone here, Arie, because the 39, 29, and the 1, they're forming up lane number 2 as they come out of turn number 4 to see the stripe with 4 laps to go. This time by, it's going to be Zachary Wake and Joseph Klein side by side at the race line. That's how fast the lead can get evaporated, as big issues at the front. Contact between the 39 and the 5. Contact between the 39 and the 5. Now that's broken up this lead pack up here a little bit. Joseph Klein still in the race lead, but outside lane got some help with the 1 and the 39. But what do these drivers do? What does the 29 of Tyler do? What does Gabriel Goli do? What does Alex Fuller do when they take the run and they get back to this lead pack out here? This could be their best opportunity to make it 3 wide and carry the momentum on the outside.
I cannot believe we kept it green under that last incident. I was a bit speechless right there. But now we've got the pack reformed right here. And on the outside, the 39 has a great shot with the help of the 1 of Nolan Milnes right here. The only lap cars in the equation right now are the 8 and the 4. up in this lead pack. Everyone else is for position. We're going to see a huge run down the back straightaway from onboard. Nolan Milnes in the 1, pushing the 39 of Zachary Wake. Out front, Will Wake clear the bottom line. No, that's going to keep the door open for Joseph Klein in the 5 through 3 and 4, coming to 2 to go.
The 39 took the lead for a split second down the backstretch. Now going to take the race lead out of turn number 4 as the 39, the 1, the 29. They're going to carry the momentum at the stripe. Give us 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks over the speedway. Who is it going to be out here at Daytona? And I still expect to see one of these drivers attempt to make it 3 wide.
The 3 wide move hasn't come yet, but if it's going to, it needs to be soon. Dead even at the front, the 5 and the 39 down the backstretch with about even help. Will it be Klein? Will it be Wake? Will somebody else get their nose into the conversation? Down into turns 3 and 4. We roll with the 5 clear of the field, in control of this race, the help of 2-lap cars on the inside. That third line's forming a little further back. White flag is in the air for the 5 and the 39.
Joseph Klein leads the white flag out here, but here comes the 39 of Zachary Wake as he takes the lead from the outside lane, but the momentum back down to the inside lane. Help from a lap car, Matt Semple, and that Chevy Camaro down second on the inside lane. Not a lead lap vehicle, gonna stack up on the inside. Issues on the inside. Here comes the outside of Zachary Wake in the 39 and Nolan Milnes.
The field is in absolute chaos and pandemonium. They're wrecking behind, but the 39 has the lead. Zachary Wake in control, but the 1 and the 5, they've got to run on to the front stretch. To the inside goes the 5. He's going to look for it. The 39 tries to block. They make contact, and across the line, it's the 39. It's Zachary Wake who wins the season opener at Daytona.
Incredible finish. 3 wide finish at the start finish line. We'll take another look at that before we grab your post-race finishers out here tonight from the All-American Racing League. And Arie, anytime you see the checkered flag at Daytona, you gotta go for it.
You do absolutely have to go for it. I think it's a good thing the 39 won, because I don't know if the 5 would have held up crossing the double yellow line right there. It gave us a great finish, and a couple feet further, it might have been the 74 of Crawford. Just couldn't get there in time. 3 wide across the line with a car sideways. And oh, by the way, the sideways car's the one in victory lane. That's going to work out real well for the 39 of Zachary Wake, who ran a phenomenal race in the second half. Contact from the 5 to the 39 gets him out of shape. Coming to the line, somehow holds on just enough to make it happen. Narrowly ahead of the 5.
You could see just how close it was between those 3 finishers out here tonight, with the 39 is Zachary Wake taking the checkered flag from the season opener of the All-American Racing League. Arie, we talked about how important it was to put your name in the record book as the first winner in the league.
Absolutely. It is. It is an honor. It is a special honor to win at Daytona in any capacity, to win the season opener, get yourself in the playoffs, but to be the very first winner. No matter what happens in the All-American Racing League, whether it's 1 race, 10 races, 100 races, or 1,000 races, Zachary Wake in the 39 car is going to be the very first name to take the checkered flag. See if we can pull this up here. Here we go. Driver out of Smackover. AR is Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Arkansas? I want to say, yeah. I want to say Arkansas. There's a couple AR states out there. Smackover. That's that's the name of a place. We'll get our drivers rounded up here and ready for some interviews. And I do think, as a matter of fact, we might just be ready to do that. Starting with our third place finisher, driver of the 74, Nick Crawford. Nick, You were up towards the front for most of the race this evening, and on that final lap, through the chaos and the pandemonium, it looked like maybe for a second you were going to steal one. It just was a little too short. You needed a couple more feet at the end right there. Walk us through your race.
Yeah, Las Vegas. I'm sorry, we're not Las Vegas. Daytona in the Xfinity car or B car, what it is now. It's a little bit sketchy. I haven't raced this car in a long time on a super speedway, so learning how to bump draft and how the lines move was just all race and some practice. But we were trying to help out the teammates early on. Everybody trying to get stage points, and then some got caught in wrecks, and then we got some damage on a restart. So then we just kind of went with the flow, really. But yeah, there at the end, for a second I thought I got it, and I was just holding the wheel straight, just hoping that the wrecks didn't come up and they only went down.
Absolutely, and hey, I mean, sometimes that's what you got to do to survive. I tell you what, it's the first event, for this league. It's the first event for a ton of these drivers, with one another. What was your first impressions with some of the drivers that you've seen for the first time? What was the vibe that you got from the field tonight, and what do you think it's saying about the season coming up?
Yeah, just from past experience and just tonight, it's Daytona with a bunch of people you don't know, and again, the car is a little bit sketchy, especially with bumps, and it seems like off the corner they were acting a little bit different. So it's really hard to judge anybody now. I didn't really absorb a lot of information. There's some guys you think you got to look for, and some guys that are pretty solid, but it's hard to really hold on to that from a super speedway. I think next race and the upcoming regular tracks will be a better judgment for those people. But so far I've had fun. We kind of came in with a casual outlook and didn't want to go too serious, didn't want to be too cautious. So it was a good night overall. I think this league has some good potential. Admins and race control are pretty solid so far, so no complaints.
All right. Well, I'm going to open up the floor to you, Nick, to give any shout outs that you want to give, hays, highs, thank yous, anything of the sort for a podium finish in tonight's event.
Yeah, I want to shout out the sponsor of the race, the Me Shirts sponsor. Also want to shout out to my teammates over at Amped Up Motorsports. We got Sam, Dakota, and Josh tonight. And then, as always, and if I keep getting top threes, you guys are going to hear it a lot. I want to shout out my beautiful wife. She's amazing. She's watching. Best person in the world. And shout out to you guys and admins.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Nick. Congratulations on a top 3 run, and we'll see you a week from now in Auto Club.
Thank you.
All right, and we turn our attention to the second place finisher out here tonight, and that is the driver of the number 5, Joseph Klein. Joseph, Tom, and Arie up in the Cyber Thunder broadcast booth. How are you tonight?
Pretty good. How are you?
We are doing okay. We were watching those last couple of laps as you were leading, and then of course that exciting finish. But before we get to the finish, before we get to the last couple of laps, I want to kind of dive into what your mentality was about coming in here tonight, being a new league, first time a lot of these drivers have run together. Did you approach this race any differently than maybe you normally would have for a race at Daytona or Talladega?
I kind of prefer Talladega. Daytona seems to I mean, yeah, it's smaller and it's a little bit narrower, but I think people come to Daytona thinking that, it's more like Talladega and they have more room, and it just feels a lot narrower. As far as game plan, no, I didn't really change anything other than, just not being the fourth car in line pushing people. Like, you can still make speed by managing the bubble and managing runs, so I really didn't feel the need to push anyone like in the corners, out of the corners, or anything really out of the box. Just kind of let the runs come to me and work with the traffic.
Well, you were working some lap traffic at the end of the race, and we saw an opportunity where you jumped down in front of, I want to say it was the 8 of Matt Semple there, and you kind of put some lap vehicles in between you and second place on track, and then that outside lane started to come. Kind of bring us through those last couple of laps and what your thoughts were before we saw the checkered flag.
I recognized most of the lap traffic because they were in little pods, like 2 3 car pods. I didn't realize until like the white that Simple was a lap down. I was just so comfortable with him pushing me, and I asked a couple of guys in there. I was like, "Is that guy a lap down?" They're like, "Yes." So I was like, "Dude, I'm gonna ditch him." But I had a second thought about it within like half lap. I was like, "No, he's been doing really good pushing me. I'm not gonna ditch him here." And
It's
I guess he blew up.
Yeah, somehow that always happens. You get to racing so hard that you don't even realize that the cars that you're racing against are not even on your lap. But then we saw the little bit of a kerfuffle. That's Arie Heinzman's favorite word here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. We saw a little bit of a kerfuffle on the last lap. The inside lane kind of fell apart. That allowed the outside lane to take the momentum off of turn number 4, and then a drag race with the 39 to the start finish line. Kind of bring us through your thought process from the exit of 4 to the black and white.
Uh, it's all kind of a blur right now, but it's just so much adrenaline and excitement that happens in the last couple laps. But I remember obviously leading the bottom, and then I saw, I think the Bass Pro car blow up, get fallen out, and then I was like, oh man, the inside's dead, and I didn't want to jump to the top and really bunch us all up there. So I kind of just stayed bottom, let another pusher come to me, and then I don't know, they just kept wrecking behind. But I mean, I saw it was clear ahead, so I was like, you know, you can't make it work really to the outside off 4 at Daytona. I mean, you could if you had help, but I didn't have the help, so I figured I'd just go to the bottom, try and kind of lean on his door without wrecking him, and that was close, but no cigar.
Well, we're taking another look at the photo finish here from the season opener of the inaugural race from the All American Racing League. You come home with a solid second place finish after running strong all night in that number 5. Joseph, we're going to open up the floor for you here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network and allow you to say hello, hi, or how you doing to any of your friends or family watching the race out here tonight. The floor is all yours, sir.
Just want to give a shout out to you, Race Control, the league, Cody, Tanner, and everyone running it. You guys in the broadcast booth, and then my teammates, Noob Squad Racing. That's about it.
All right, Joseph. Well, congratulations. We will hope to have the opportunity to talk to you next week at Auto Club once we take our trip out west next week and maybe see you one spot better for another podium finish in the All American Racing League. And that brings us to the number 39, Zachary Wake, out here this evening.
We've got our race winner, Zachary Wake, in the 39 in what was an absolutely phenomenal race to the finish line. You were able to get yourself up front halfway through the race with some strategy flipping stage 2, and from there you were able to make it work. That track position paid off, and you find yourself with a great opportunity on the final lap. Walk us through your race as a whole, and then more specifically that final lap.
Yeah, I was mainly just dodging wrecks to start. Didn't qualify great, so just kind of dodged the wrecks. I pretty much came down pit road every time and got fuel. Until, like you said, when I flipped a stage after stage 2, my teammates, I had a couple teammates that were doing it with me, so we did that. That got me the track position, and then I was able to hold on to it a little bit. I got a little bit behind, and then after the green flag stop, and then was able to get back up there. And then, yeah, we were, we had Joseph, Nolan, and Zachary Tyler was all up there. Those were all 3 teammates. So our typical rule is, we race each other nice and clean until the last lap, and then anything flies. So I knew Joseph was gonna drive me as hard as he could, and thankfully I was just able to hang on to it.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, it was it was a crazy finish coming to line. It was pretty cool to see. This was, for most drivers, it's kind of been, a trend through tonight's race that, everyone's kind of seeing each other for the first time and kind of getting a feel for how everyone else races for the first time. So what was your first impressions here in the All-American Racing League and kind of seeing a lot of these drivers for the very first time?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought everybody did a pretty good job. It wasn't the cleanest it could have been, but for everybody racing here together the first time, not a lot of people know each other yet, and I think there's a lot of room to improve on that over the season.
Absolutely. Well, we head into Auto Club next week. You've got yourself, fortunately, already taken care of when it comes to the postseason later on with this win here in Daytona. So, how are you feeling about the challenge of Auto Club next week with probably what will be another very, very large size field given how early it is in the season?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Auto Club historically is not one of my best tracks, but I'll get out there and see what I can do. I'm looking forward to it though.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the win tonight. We're going to open up the floor to you, Zachary, to any shout-outs, thank yous, hays, and highs, all of the sorts that you want to give after tonight's victory in the inaugural race of the All-American Racing League.
Yeah, just mainly the team, sponsors, for hosting the broadcast. I'm sure it's gonna be great when I watch it back. And then obviously I gotta thank my wife for letting me race and watching the kids while I do it. So
All right. Well, congratulations again, Zachary. We'll send you down to celebrate with the team. And that is, once again, our race winner. Driver of the 39 out of Smackover, Arkansas, Zachary Wake, the inaugural winner. And apologies for some of the technical difficulties on getting the camera shots here for the post-race. Not sure what entirely has been going on with that. But I tell you what, Tom, it was surprisingly tame in the third stage through that final run. I mean, we had some incidents, but not really, the same kind that we saw in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. And, once the driver saw the green flag for stage number 3, we ran the majority of stage number 3, green flag. Saw some issues on pit road, saw some speeding penalties, saw some drivers having an unsafe pit entry, but it came down to about 10 or 12 cars, with the ultimate winner being the 39 of Zachary Wake out here tonight. Great opening night for this league.
All right, and with that, round 1 out of 24 is complete. And we can take a look at our final results, unofficially official. Your race winner is going to be Zachary Wake in the 39, of course, followed by Joseph Klein in the 5, teammates 1 and 2. Rounding out the podium is Nick Crawford in the 74. In 4th place is the driver of the 1, Nolan Milnes, who won a stage today. Zachary Tyler in the 29 rounds out our top 5. Alex Fuller in the Scooby-Doo Machine brings us home in P6 ahead of Dakota Moniz in 7th. Trevor Harmon quietly brings us home in P8 ahead of Ryan Rose, in P9. And Shane Johnson in the 2 rounds out our top 10.
Just on the outside of the top 10 was Brian Troy in that number 27. Comes home 11th, followed by Chris Carroll, followed by Gabriel Goli and Caleb West coming home 14th. The first driver 1 lap down was Tanner Marr out of 5 Kings Motorsports stable in that number 4. Had some issues earlier in the race, delegated him to a 1 lap down finish out here tonight. Thomas Parker led a bunch of laps out here tonight. He's going to come home 16th on the board, followed by the Cheeto Man, Cody Gibson, Stoney Benfield in 18th, and the top 20 was rounded out by Jackson West and Matthew Pavlik.
Just outside of the top 20 is going to be Matt Semple in the 8, who blew up on the last lap, pushing the 5 car. Joshua Kanata in 22nd, ahead of Kyle Wellman, winner of stage 1, brings us home in 23rd. Samuel Garcia in 24th, ahead of Nick Thompson in 25th. Chris Lawrence 26th, ahead of Larry Bell, Brad Holmes, and rounding out the field, Chad Wilson in our season opener tonight in Daytona. Race 1 done, and 23 to go. Next week, we hit up Auto Club, and Auto Club, Tom, Always a fantastic time, always a great race. There's so many lines, so many grooves, so much action on a track that's so worn out and bumpy.
Yeah, Auto Club is certainly a great 1.5-mile track to run, and we're going to see which of these drivers is able to carry into victory lane next week. From Daytona, we want to thank meshirts.co for picking up tonight's race. Head on over to meshirts.co for unique shirts and apparel. They let you tell the world your story. You can use coupon AARL to get 10% off your first order. meshirts.co, just doing me. From the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network booth, once again, thank you to tonight's race sponsor, meshirts.co.
With that, I say we get out of here, Tom. We got a long drive to California to get there by next Saturday. I'm looking forward to it, though. One race down, many more to come from the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. Make sure that you hit that like button if you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Subscribe and turn notifications on so that you know whenever we are covering flag-to-flag action. Until next week, we'll see you there.